Hello and welcome back to another episode of She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories, where I interview and find out the journeys and the stories, the successes, and some of the challenges of some of the most phenomenal women in business, and particularly women that I would say are the unsung entrepreneurial heroes who don't often get to share their stories. If you haven't already done so, as usual, please make sure you click that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if anything in this video resonates, please write a comment, like, and share in your network. And over here, so giving me a thumbs up, we have this week's interview candidate, Tendai Chagweda. I'm not going to, as I always say, I'm not going to try and list all of the amazing things that you do, because I think nobody can do it better than the person themselves. So please tell the audience what it is that you do.
Hi guys, so my name is Tendai Chagweda. I'm a transformational coach. I assist people to transform their vision to reality, and I do that in a number of remits. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I have a number of businesses, namely Quest for Success, which started off assisting DJs how to market themselves effectively. As well as doing the coaching job for DJs, I ended up doing it for all entrepreneurs. So in theory, I'm a transformation coach. As I mentioned, I'm a DJ as well. So I started off doing DJing, and I've now got my own DJ school called Inspiring DJs. So I assist people how to transform their vision of, being a bedroom DJ to making it a reality. And I coach kids, adults and pensioners how to DJ, so personal and professional endeavors that people have. And then lastly, under the Quest for Success remit, I do vision board workshops. So still falling under the remit of teaching people how to market themselves effectively, how to transform their visions to reality. I get people to create vision boards, digital or physical ones, and I do that in schools, organisations like away days, and one-on-ones in co-working spaces that I manifested. That's kind of like the three main things I do, in addition to, since we're in the month of October, Black History Month, I also do Black History teaching in my community and in schools. So a number of things there.
Busy lady. That's a lot of things. Yeah, there's no way that I would have been able to summarize that in a way better than you've been able to do it yourself. So thank you for that. So I want to start at the beginning. You said you're a serial entrepreneur. Now, with many of the kind of serial entrepreneurs that I meet, that seed of entrepreneurship was planted when they were a child. Did you grow up thinking, I want to be a boss, I want to run my own businesses, or is it something that's organically kind of developed through circumstance?
Yeah, I wish I could say I always knew I was the boss, I was the leader. I wish I could say that. It wasn't the case. When I started off, I wanted to be an air hostess from when I first knew about jobs in general. Then I wanted to be a barrister clerk, random. And then I wanted to get into accounts. So with the accounts role, it was more based on, I was really, really good with numbers. I'd be submitted to exams really early, ahead of my years. So I was like, I want to, so I was thinking on a clerk level. I was not thinking on no boss level. People even said to me, what's a barrister's clerk? Why was I not going for a barrister? So I had no idea. So I came into this organically. I was working for American Express. So my the closest way I got into doing air stewardess work was by working for a travel agent, and I was working for American Express in JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, doing their business travel. So from there, I basically saw that people were unhappy in their jobs, and I entered that job knowing this is not going to be my be all and end all. We got to travel the world in business class and first class and whatnot, but I could see that underneath all of that, people weren't happy, that people just couldn't wait to go on their next holiday. And I thought, I don't want to come to work looking forward to 22 days holiday for the year. So it was not at all, always within me. It happened organically.
So what gave you that push to then say, okay, I'm not going to accept this kind of life. I'm going to start my own business?
Okay. So I was working in the Shard before I started Quest for Success, and I was sacked from the Shard. I was doing recruitment. So as we know, recruitment, sales, estate agent kind of jobs, cutthroat. If you're not making those figures, if you're not hitting those, the numbers that they require and desire, you're not going to make it. And I was a bit too soft for the recruitment world. I was more concerned in getting people their ideal jobs. I set up Quest for Success because I want to assist people's visions become reality and assist people to market themselves effectively, which in effect is what I was doing as a role when I was working at the Shard. However, I was expected to just get people through the door. If they came in for a cleaning job, that's what I was supposed to be getting them into, opposed to me saying, what's your absolute dream? And then finding out what their dream were, and then them finding out, the sky was the limit, and they walked out with a new enthusiasm that they were going for the jobs that they really, really wanted, in addition to the one that they came for at the Shard. Some were successful at getting them, and then some realised, like, actually, no, that's not what I want. Goodbye. Mm-hmm. So, for me, it was getting the chat from the Shard. It was a bit sweet. At the time, you feel deflated. And I just said, no. Before I came to the Shard, the reason why they employed me, I had no prior experience, is because they could see I was a go-getter, and I knew I wanted to set up Quest for Success before I'd started the Shard. I told them about doing it for the DJs, so they didn't see me as a threat per se, that I'm going to set up my own company and then, fly the nest, because I was very much concerned on helping other DJs. I've been discovered by the BBC, and I felt really, really sorry. I felt sorry for the DJs that hadn't been poached by the BBC. I got approached by the BBC on Twitter, asked to do a BBC World News feature on the music that I play, which is South African house music. Have you heard of that?
I have.
Cool.
I can't say that I'm a connoisseur, but I have heard of it.
Oh, fantastic. So, done a feature on South African house music. I brought in a couple of DJs, brought in some producers, some promoters, because I thought to myself, when I eat, I want everyone to eat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I felt sorry for the DJs that had been grafting and been DJing for, way longer than me, and that were quite honestly better than me, that haven't had those opportunities that I had with regards to certain promoters coming to me, certain numbers on SoundCloud and, on social media where I was getting high exposure for people like the likes of BBC to contact me to feature. So, it was leaving the Shard. I didn't leave, I was sacked from the Shard when I realised, like, no, go for your dream. You actually would have forgotten about that. I was working some serious hours at the Shard because I absolutely loved doing what I'd done. I love helping people and assisting them with their vision to reality. So I just thought, I'm going to do this on my own, and literally set up Quest for Success on the back of that. So I was forced into entrepreneurship in a way.
Mm-hmm. So take me back, because I feel like I missed the link somewhere. So You were working, you were sacked, then you started the business. Where did the DJing fit into that? When did you start DJing?
Okay, so I started DJing probably 6-7 years prior to the Shard. So when I left American Express at the age of 30 or thereabouts, so I was like, what do I want to, what do I love doing every day? What do I live for? I lived for the weekends. I lived for raving. I loved raving. So when I left American Express, I kind of like done a business plan. Actually, while I was at American Express, I wrote a business plan to see if it was feasible for me to become a DJ. I had to find out what costs were incurred, because DJing is a very expensive thing to come into, especially back 10 years ago. You had to buy vinyls, like Technique 1210s were like £700 a deck. Then I bought my mixer, that was £400, and then each record. Then I had to invest in DJ school to train myself to become a DJ, because I had no idea. So so I wrote a business plan, and and then I done research with people like Fifth Avenue and a whole load of promoters that I know, to find out what the hourly rates are, to find out how quick I was gonna get my money back, so to say. So that's where the link with the DJing came from, when I decided to leave the rat race, full-time work in the city, and then look for part-time work in South London, which is how I came across the Shard as well a bit later. So yeah, does that make a bit more sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's led me to another question. DJing is traditionally seen as a male-dominated kind of role. As a
Absolutely.
woman going into that industry, did that really kind of boost your confidence to actually, I'm here, I'm doing what the men are doing? And how much of an impact did that have on your confidence to then go into business? Because one of the things, one of the reasons I even started doing these interviews was because I was doing research around female entrepreneurship. And one of the issues that I face a lot of women that want to start a business and don't is lack of confidence. Now, going into this kind of really male-dominated space of DJing and clubbing and that kind of thing, you must have had to really have a strong core to say, I can go toe-to-toe with these men and I can do it just as good as them. So what was the impact that had on you at the time? And then also when you then went and started your official business then?
Great question. I have said to you already that I think you're a fantastic interviewer. But do you know what? That it's funny you should say all of this, because when I tell people to think about the job they want to go into, also think about your past, present, and future. There's always a correlation. So I love the fact that you keep going into this. I used to be a footballer. So I used to play for Millwall. Yes, I was a Millwall Lioness when I was 14, 15. I stopped after a couple of weeks because I became a footballer by accident. I went with a friend who went for the trials in Eltham, and I went with her to support her, ended up kicking ball, and then I got through to the job and she didn't. I got through to the finals. I know, awful. So I done it for a while. I felt awful. Maria, I'm so sorry. And yeah, so I've always been one of the lads, so to say. I've got a brother, he's got loads of friends, used to roll with the boys, so to say, I'm from Peckham, from the estate, so to say. So I've never really seen it as a boys and girls thing, and I've never ever viewed life from that from that view. Yeah, I've never seen that kind of view of things, like men and women. I've always been like, well, if they're doing it, I'm going to kick ball, and I will kick ball just as good. So I wouldn't see it as a difference in capabilities. If that answers the question with regards to when I got into DJing, I didn't see it as, oh, it's them and me, or them and us, So yeah, no, for me, the male/female thing isn't that big a thing.
I love that though. I think that's something that more women need to hear and embody, that actually what they can do, you can do, and therefore it shouldn't even be a thing. Unfortunately, it is a thing for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you weren't in any way kind of opposed to just jumping in or even acknowledging the fact that there was a difference, I think that's really quite a powerful thing.
Yeah.
So when you started your first business, so the DJing was what you did first, then you started Quest for Success.
Correct.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced when you started the first business? Because I assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you were let go from the Shard, had you put finances aside to kind of tide you over? And I assume you wouldn't have, because you didn't know you was going to be fired. So was finances a challenge, and how did you get around that?
With regards to me talking about the vision boards and everything, I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. So big believer in signs, symbols, why things keep happening. And, I was going from one job to the next. After I left American Express, I went into radio, which is why I identified you're a fantastic host. I've done, I got headhunted by a radio, an internet radio station, and I ended up being a random station manager on the radio. I've never done that before, which I absolutely loved. Yeah, and again, people might see it as predominantly male, but trying to think of where to go with the direction of this question now. I didn't see it as a challenge, because I saw it more as a tap on the back, like, you need to do this. No matter what else is going on, you have to do this. You can run, but you can't hide. That's exactly how I saw it. Run, but you can't hide, because you might find another dream job. I always seem to find really fun jobs, but there's a reason why I wasn't in them for a duration. There was a reason why I was never in top leadership positions, because the universe is like, you are your own boss. If we make it that it's going to be so great for you in this company or that company, like many other people, you're never going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw it more as in like, it doesn't matter where this is going to go, but you have to do it. Time's ticking on now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 41 now. I started Quest for Success when I was about 37, 36, 37, which is quite old compared to the age that the millennials are starting their own businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And considering all the skills that I had from a long time ago, it took me a long time to believe that I could do this. So basically, I was running away from entrepreneurship, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
it didn't matter the fact that I had low funds. I mean, during all of this, I lost my home. I've got no, I've got no kids, and I love a family in that aspect. No relationship, no material possessions. So it literally was. Felt like I was stripped of everything and anything that any person can have, and I was just laid bare to say, here you go, give it a try, give it a shot. And prior to all of this, I'd always said that when I had all of these things, I felt unhappy deep within me. And I was like, there's something not right here. I had my own flat. I had 2 cars at one stage, had a relationship, and I knew there was something missing. So the fact that I've now been stripped of everything, it feels like it was meant to be. I feel like if I had those things, they would have been a deterrent for me from going for something. Even if I had money, I would have been like, oh, no, I'm not going to do this just in case something happens to this money or whatever. So for me, it was just like a big tap on the back saying, get on with it. You've got nothing. It's now or never. Does that make sense?
I'm going to stick a pin on responding to that question, because I think we can't continue without acknowledging the fact that you just said that you're 41 and
right.
your face isn't showing me anything near 41. So I just want to
thank you so much.
acknowledge that. Secondly, put the pin back. Part of my kind of motto is to keep pushing. And you said you lost everything. Now, the average person, I feel like that would have been the point where I have to get another job. I suppose 2 things. I have to get another job to rebuild, or I can't rebuild. I'm on the floor and like life takes me. I can't do this. Where did that bounce back ability come from? And has one of the questions I like to ask people is about their childhood and their experience with parents or guardians or whoever they were raised with or around, and if that has had an impact on I guess some of the key traits that you have, because clearly you are very resilient and your bounce back ability is unlike many other people that I've spoken with, because I feel like if I was at that point, I don't know if the next step would be in my head, well, that means I have to do it. So where did that resolve and that determination and that bounce back ability come from?
Well, as I said, I kept on getting that tap on the shoulder. So, you know, prior to losing my place and everything, and I was totally on the floor, on my face. I think I've been made redundant from a job not too soon before that. And I was happy. I was just like, yes, great, you know, made redundant. Then I lost my home not too long after that. And I was living with someone who was bipolar. He's open about it, actually. He's bipolar. So I'd never, ever experienced mental health to the point where someone was so open about it, and I just had to deal with that shit. Excuse my language. So, I'm on my face. I'm with someone who's on their face, and you got two people on their face is not a good look at all, and some of the things that people, when they're in a dark place, some of the things that people talk about, I've never ever been here, and I totally believe the universe put me in all of these situations and positions because the people that I'm going to be inspiring, empowering, teaching, I need to have been able to hit rock bottom to even understand a shred of what they've gone through. I hadn't experienced that before. People always said, you're always so happy-go-lucky. Friends have said, yeah, the reason why you're always happy is because this has never happened to you, or that's never happened to you. Mm-hmm. So the fact that all these things was happening to me at the time, it's like the universe is like, here you go, rock bottom. Can you be that positive Tendai? Positive Petite is what my DJ nickname was, Petite. So people who say, oh, you're always positive, but can you be positive really when you're on your face? And the answer is, sometimes no, sometimes you can't, and I used to always be that person to say, don't worry, just be positive. So that just brought me down a peg or two. It's like the universe is like, you need to be careful when you're saying that to people, because it's a different thing when you're going through something. So I was like, all right, universe, I humbly accept that. I'm going to be very, very mindful of brushing off people's mental health or things that they're going through, because I'd never been through it, so I would never understand it to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
So it happens in stages with regards to, you know, I was on my face and then I crawled myself up, like you just said. I was like, I need to get a job, and I managed to get 2 jobs. I got the Shard and I got a job. I was living in West Hampstead. I got a job round the corner from where I was living. Absolutely brilliant. Started off doing coordinator work. When I got my job at the Shard, stayed there full time, got the sack, right? Came back. The West Hampstead people still loved me. They was like, I told them the situation. They was like, come back here. We love what you're doing. I was like, I'm going to come in a new capacity now, because this is now my new skills. I've realized I'm a fantastic social media consultant. So I kind of started off Quest for Success by doing their social media. And funnily enough, it's called a School of Infant Mental Health, SIMH. So they help people that's on the autism spectrum. Everything happens for a reason, because my DJ school, I help autistic kids as well. I would have never known about this world had I never worked for an organization, had I never lost my place, had I never been on my face, had I never been sacked from the Shard. This wouldn't have happened to me or for me. So, you know, I was knocked down, clawed back up, got 2 jobs, knocked down because the university didn't want that for me, you know, worked at the School of Infant Mental Health again. And then that's when I realized, okay, yeah, just do it. So I kind of went there on a self-employed tip. So that's how it happened. You know, I'm a true believer in things keep on happening. It's like when you're in a relationship and you're in relationships and you're always like, I always meet narcissists. So let's just say that, for example, that's a big thing at the moment, isn't it? Narcissism and whatnot. I've come to the realization that I've got narcissistic tendencies. I've said previously that, this person was a narcissist or that person is a narcissist. As they say, sometimes you can recognize more in other people what you actually are yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm keeping it real. So I had to realize, what's that knock, knock, knock? If you keep on sending me narcissistic people, what's that telling me? Yeah, there are other things. It means you're an empath and blah, blah, blah. But I want to take responsibility in my behavior, what I'm entertaining, you know, with regards to that in relationships, but with regards to the job thing, constantly, you know, not being feeling fulfilled within a job. It was just, the universe was clearly saying, just do your own thing. And the minute I did, my first client after School of Mental Health was South Bank University. You know, my first and biggest client. I'm not a tutor. I've got no degree of any kind, no teaching qualifications, and here I am teaching in a university. You know, so the universe is like, see, you took so long to do this, so long. So that's where the bounce back comes from, trial and error. I'm very much a just do it person. Try it and see, believe it, achieve it. I'm very much like that, and if it works, it works. If it don't, try something else. So I'm very much daredevil like that.
Oops, we had a bit of a pause moment. I've seemed to come back. No, that's so interesting. And yeah, getting the university contract with no experience in that field, like clearly you are good at what you do, and whatever it is that you set in your mind to, you're good at it. And I'm a believer in that wholeheartedly and 100%, because I have a similar ethos. I also worked in a university without having any teaching qualifications, and it was the same kind of thing. I'd created a module in my business and then went to the university and said, do you want me to teach it? And they said yes. Oh, this is amazing. And I think there's not enough women that have that belief that, and obviously I haven't met every woman, this is a sweeping generalization, but I meet a lot of women that have imposter syndrome, and I also have imposter syndrome, but that's a separate thing entirely. But they let that hold them back, so they won't go for opportunities and they won't accept opportunities because they don't think that they're adequately qualified or experienced, when actually, as you've already said, and I've also done it, sometimes you just have to give something a try, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, then you either go back to the drawing board and learn and improve, or you decide that actually that's not for me, I'm going to go and do something else.
Absolutely.
I think that's really important.
Love it. And then with regards to your question, like what was your background why do you think you've got this resilient attitude, so to say? I grew up with just my mum in this country. So my mum is one of 4 children. She's the only person that came from Zimbabwe to England. So got no cousins at all in this country. And then my mum's just got my brother younger than me and my sister younger than me. My mum was a grafter and a hard worker. She was studying and working when it came to school things. And from a child, I was a go-getter. So when it came to going to football matches, I'd be the person with no one there to support them. Drama school, singing stuff that I tried to sing. I'm not a singer, but drama things and extracurricular stuff outside of school where you'd usually have a parent. I had nobody. So I always had to put on my big girl's blouse and just go on that stage and be one up. Do you know what I mean? So it's very much like, well, I ain't got no support, but I'm going to do this kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's quite a good thing that you touched on there, because when I do my coaching, that's what a lot of people kind of come to me for. Like, how do I just go for it and just do it? And it's knowing what you're really good at. So for me, my best friend were books. I loved personal development books. I knew from a child I was an ENFP personality type, which is Myers-Briggs. You know, extrovert, intuitive, fixed, and can't remember what the P stands for. So I knew that as a child that this is how I am. This is where I shine. So this is what I'm going to be. It makes sense for me to be doing those things in life. So I'm all about teaching people how to be the best there and find out what their superpowers are and go to the world with that. Yeah.
No, I think that's excellent advice, definitely, for sure. So you launched your businesses, you got clients. What would you say to yourself if you could go back to you at the point that you said, actually, I'm going to launch Quest for Success, this is what I'm going to do? If you could go back to that you and give you a piece of advice, what would you tell yourself now?
Oh, gosh. I have no idea. I think I'd tell myself, get a team. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Get a team. Collaborate. It took me a long time. I was doing all of this myself and not collaborating with many people for years and years and years. I would have been a whole lot more forward if I'd done a bit more collaboration work. I like where I am anyway at the moment, but you know, as they said, 2 heads. Is it 2 heads are better than 1, or whatever they say?
No, it's interesting because I personally, I like to do a lot. I like to work independently, and it's more latterly that I've started to reach out to people and started to look at partnerships. And I love that phrase. If you want to go slow, go alone. If you want to go forward, go alone. If you want to go fast, go with us. I'm so rubbish.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
I started to keep telling myself that, even though I'm not telling it straight. But like, do I want to just go forward, or do I want to go forward as fast as I actually can? And that's easier to do when you're working with other people.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the advice I'd 100% tell myself. I've noticed some businesses that have started in their infancy, that have collaborated from the get-go, have just gone whoosh. And it makes sense. Yeah,
it definitely does. I think the challenge though is working with other people, and that's the challenge that I have, because I work in a specific way, so I need other people to work in a specific way, and I find it really difficult if people are not as rigid and don't work in the way I work. But actually sometimes that's what you need, somebody to complement where you may not. So I'm quite rigid, but maybe working with people that are more flowy and creative would complement.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not so much working as a team, but more so collaborating. So maybe like doing events and reaching out and maybe doing more guest speaking. Before, I was very much like, my fee's £200 an hour. That's what I started off at. And if people weren't booking me at that, I wasn't doing any bookings whatsoever, and I was fine with that. So I wasn't up for this. I want to be part of the panel. I was like, you paying me? If not, I'm out. So I was very much like, no, it was because you know, that's how I started off. And I was like, I don't need no free exposure, because that's how I was seeing it, literally. You know, I had the wrong framing, but bearing in mind, I've come from the corporate world, seen certain things, and that's how I thought I was supposed to be, you know, doing business. I
don't think that's wrong, actually. I don't think that's wrong at all. I've had several clients that have spent years doing things that they're not getting paid for and putting in lots of time and lots of effort. And actually, you have built up enough experience now and enough credibility that you don't need to be doing those things for free. And I think where you started from, you've done loads of things before, and you'd also been in the corporate world. So to say it's £200 and that's it, I don't think that there's a problem with that. And I think people need to be a bit more bold in saying that this is how much it, and this is the thing. A lot of the time there's this fear that if we say that this is the price, and I've suffered with this before, if we say that this is the price, they're going to say no, and that's the end of the world, because we just want to, it's that fear of missing out. I want to be involved in this opportunity. But actually, your approach, I think, works. This is how much I'm worth, so this is how much I'm going to charge. And those who don't pay for it, then I'm not supposed to be involved in that. And I think that's a really important lesson for people to learn.
Well, thank you very much. I might go back to that, only joking.
So obviously you said you didn't collaborate as much. Has there been any person or groups of people that you've met along your entrepreneurial journey that's really impacted how you do business or how you think about business?
Yeah, there really has been, you know. As I said, I do the vision board stuff, right? And when I first came into the entrepreneur world, I used to go to talks, you know, to get inspired by other entrepreneurs, find out, you know, what I can do better. And I came across a company called Enterprise Nation. Have you heard of them?
Oh, yes, I know Enterprise Nation.
Yeah, do you know Emma, the speaker?
Yeah.
Sorry, not the speaker, the
owner.
founder. Yeah. I was at the British Library. I saw her on stage, Danielle, and I was like, I'm going to work with that woman. She's amazing. Have you seen her rocking the stage, right?
Oh, yeah. So I went to an event that she ran at Downing Street in because funny enough, it was on my birthday. So it was a panel for entrepreneurs. So I got an opportunity to speak with her then. But yeah,
fantastic.
She's a phenomenal woman and very inspirational.
Very inspiring. She's very much like you, natural energy, doesn't rehearse anything, goes with the flow, all about energy. And I really, really love that non-rehearsed stuff. That is me down to the T, right? I've seen her on stage and I'm like, this woman is fantastic. And I've manifested that whole experience, funnily, and I've got a free book and whatnot. I was like, I read up about her. I'm like, she's phenomenal. Got her logo and I put it on my vision board, right? So I was like, yep, need to work with this woman. Anyway, needless to say, I ended up getting booked for Enterprise Nation to DJ for an entrepreneurial event. So the premises that I'm in right now, I wonder if I can do a quick spin. Oops, that's my hand there. The premises that I'm in right now belong to a company called The Office Group. So I done a DJ stint for Emma Jones at Enterprise Nation. It was a whole day event, and during the keynote speaker speaking, I'd play music, turn it off, whatnot. The CEO of this company was there. So I had a fantastic day, really, really enjoyed the day, met him, and needless to say, I've manifested these offices for free, including the Shard on the 23rd, 24th and 25th floor, 2 floors, absolutely free for a whole year. How ironic is that, right?
Look at that.
Look at that. So it's funny, I was going to do this actual call from the Shard because I thought, you know, it'd be really good to show how much you can believe in yourself in something and understand the universe is working its magic for you, because it's got a much bigger plan for you than for you to be sat on the second floor in a dingy little room where you can manifest a whole load of offices, right? So anyway, I had Emma Jones on my radar. She booked me for a booking thanks to a lady called Amanda. She's changed her surname, but there's a lovely lady called Amanda who introduced me to Emma and introduced me to be a DJ on that day. And then since then, Emma invited me to go to Downing Street. So I've done something with her there. I've done some gigs for her. I've gone to a festival in Bristol and done a DJ stint there for business. And I'm doing something for young entrepreneurs, and I'm going to be bringing people from my Inspiring DJ school to come and DJ to want to be entrepreneurs there. So it's a big picture. I'm doing some great things with Enterprise Nation. So when it came to collaborations, in my head, I wanted to only work with, these big, bold companies that I'm accustomed to kind of working for. which is not the case. You should also do community things. So Emma Jones, to answer the question, Enterprise Nation is an organisation that, yes, I've collaborated with and I've been doing some work for and with them. I've just got back from an event in Coots, was invited by NatWest. So I've been doing some, I've just been attending NatWest events, but the plan is, you know, I'm going to put it out there, universe. Yes, the plan is to do, you know, a lot more business things with them. So they're people that have helped change a few things. I've been talking to a few of the business managers there, and I've been invited to events. That's how it starts like that first, doesn't it? You get invited before anything actually materializes. So they're on the radar. And another organisation that has changed things for me, Peckham Levels. Have you heard of Peckham Levels?
No, I have not.
Okay, so Peckham Levels is a community project in Peckham. There used to be a Sainsbury's in Peckham, which has now been refurbished. So it's kind of like Shoreditch. There's a whole load of floors, and they're full of entrepreneurs doing a whole load of different things. You've got printers, you've got designers, you've got people that have got food stalls. And they helped me launch my very first projects. I've been funded nearly £10,000 by my local council now, doing different projects in my community, helping people DJ for free. Peckham Levels assisted me in the delivery of that. My local councillors, believe it or not, I'm not too sure. People don't realise the importance of politics, right? And, you know, you've got the Prime Minister, and then you've got heads of this, and then you've got MPs, and then you've got our local councillors who help us shape what goes on in our community. And they've seen what I do through looking at my social media posts and through meetings that I attend, I'm invited to, and they've been quite instrumental in how I've been navigating the way I do business and doing more stuff in my community. And I'm able to do things for free in some instances because my community counsellors fund me because they see what I'm actually doing. Does that make sense?
That's awesome. I've never really considered that or ever given that as a piece of advice, but that is such a good, it's just such an interesting way of approaching it that I never would have contemplated.
Please do. I'm really, especially people in the Black community, when I go to a lot of these meetings, there are no Black people in the council meetings, and then we're the ones that complain that this is not getting done, or we don't get a chance to have say and regentrification. But if we're not attending these events which help shape things and finding out how we can help shape things, then we're not going to be able to impact our community positively or effectively. So I'm always preaching. I do, as I said, I do Facebook Lives, you know, talking about my community. I'm doing this, and I'm here, and I'm walking down the street, and look what's going on in Peckham. So much so that the council asked me to light Peckham Christmas tree, and that was just like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
I used to be this little Peckham girl, do you know what I mean, running through my community, and now I've got my local councillor saying that the Mayor of Southwark is coming down. We want you to host and introduce her to the community while she lights Peckham Christmas tree. So I feel like an advocate for my community. Like, you know, I've always grown up in this area. As I said, I lost my home, so I came back to my hometown. And as I said, everything happens for a reason. The reason I'm now on this path is because I lost my place. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing all of this. I wouldn't be back in that heart of where I was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure. Everything. Well, that goes nicely into the next question, actually. So one of the ladies I interviewed a couple of weeks ago, Layla Harris, she was talking about the power of manifestation and also vibrations, and you can attract things vibrationally. And we had a bit of a debate. So I'm interested to hear your take. So I'm a huge believer in manifestation. So the example that I give that, I'm sure, sorry, my eye is like, sorry.
That's all right. Do you want to pause it so you can sort it out?
Oh, no, it's fine. Stop now. One of the things that I have shared, probably not as much as I could have, is the fact that I was looking for a home, for our first home, and I drew a picture on a whiteboard of the floor plan. Got called to a developer who we previously visited, and they said all of the homes had sold out. They called us in and said, there's a home on the market, it's not built yet, have a look at the floor plan. And the floor plan was pretty much bar like one wall, identical to the home that I drawn. And that is where I am now. Wow. So I believe, and to be fair, there's been other things that have happened through my life that kind of made me start to think that sometimes you can manifest things into existence. However, the conversation I had with Layla, her view was that you shouldn't have any plans. Now, my view is you create the vision, then you make the plan of how you're going to get it, and then by taking the action. So my motto: think big, take action, keep pushing. The think big is the vision stuff. So that's the drawing of the floor. Take action is then going and meeting the mortgage advisor, going and viewing the homes and having a plan, saving the money. And then keep pushing is obviously to make it happen and making sure that I get in the house and do something with it. Whereas Layla's opinion was just decide that you want the house and the house will come to you.
Right.
And what you need to do is set your vibrations. What is, as someone that does vision boards, where do you sit in the spectrum of, I suppose, ideas?
Well, I'm definitely with you, darling. I'm all about, vision to reality. I'm all about, manifesting that in your mind first, and then in order for it to happen. But I've actually noticed that different things work for different people. There are some people who it works much easier and much opener when they don't think about it. That just that vibes for them, So it's just like with football. Like some people play best midfield, goalkeeper, up front, and they just shine, and things work for them by doing it that way. So I say whatever works for people, do that, most certainly. How I encourage people to do it, first and foremost, on my vision boards, I get people to get really, really clear about what their purpose is. I think it's on this side. So I manifested Bitcoin this time 2 years ago because I'd created a vision board, I'd created a purpose, and within that purpose, I said, in order for me to get to that purpose, I needed to have Bitcoin and this and that and that. And I done that on the 17th of August, 2017. And by December, end of November, I manifested for totally free Bitcoin.
So you manifested the Bitcoin, and I was always quite skeptical about this manifestation thing. But there's so many people that I've met and spoken to, and I've also now experienced it for myself. But I definitely am of the camp. You believe it and you create a plan of how you're going to achieve it, and then that's how you manifest it. So definitely. So just to close down, the question I ask all of the ladies that I interview, because I think it's so important that we share specific pieces of advice for the next generation of women, and also women even in our generation and above that may want to go into business and may be scared, or who are in business and just need some guidance. So I'm going to ask you, what 3 pieces of advice would you give to that woman that's sitting at home watching or listening, wants to go into business and maybe doesn't know how to start or what they should be focusing on?
Okay, the first 3 things I would say is find out what your purpose is. That's so important, because it's through finding out what your purpose is, what your superpowers and strengths are, and what you were born to do in this world, that will align you to the right people with regards to whether or not you take the plunge to start your own business. But in the infancy of it, it will hopefully align you to the right people, especially when you're certain that that's what you want to do. People can smell people can smell success in a way. So some people actually know that you're successful before you do, just by the way you deliver and let people know what it is you do and why you do it, and why you're going to do it and why you're going to make it. So it's really, really important to know your purpose. Find out what your superpowers are. I know this sounds really, really cliche, but this is the first thing I do with people in any workshops they do, whether it's social media, the DJing, or the vision board workshops. Find out what your superpower is, just to get you into that state of, I've got this. I've noticed that men are very, very good at talking about what they're great at doing. And I'll ask people this, and I love my mixed groups when I do my mixed vision board workshops, and I'll ask them, what's your superpower? What's your strength? And us women are like, oh, I'm really organized. And, we'll just say these very standard, mediocre things. So I know for some people being organized is not necessarily standard, but men will just talk on a whole different granular level with regards to, I've got the ability to change systems, and They just talk with such belief and conviction in themselves and what their skills and strengths are. Once we do that, that's why they can go into boardrooms, and that's why they can go into Dragon's Den and pitch. And I've done little experiments, you know, I've been watching Dragon's Den. The men will say, I want to give away 2% of my business, and the women will be like, I want to give away 30%. And already the playing field is much, much different from the get-go, because the men go with the belief that they've got such a great investment for these dragons. Yeah, so we need to believe in ourselves more. In order to believe in ourselves more, we need to find out what our strengths are. Once you know what your strengths are, you're going to talk from a completely different place. So breathe, Tendai. So that's what I would say. Getting me super passionate here, Danielle. And then number 3, do you know what? I would say, because I've noticed it's a thing that us women do a lot more than men, it's to give away less. That's what I would say. I would say we need to take more and give away less. And I wish I'd had this philosophy myself from the get-go, because I've given, and I'm not just talking about money or anything like that. I'm talking about energy, giving people your time. When I go to meetings now and people say, oh, let's meet up for a coffee. I'm up front. What do you want? What exactly do you want to discuss? What is it? Because number 1, I don't drink coffee.
Me either.
You know?
Me either.
So what is it you want? Get to the point. And to get to the point, we've got to give a lot less. So sometimes we'll be like, all right, I'll give her an hour of my time. It's not just an hour you're giving, because you're taking time to go to that interview. That's time you could have been putting in the business. Then you're sitting there fluffing about over this fluffy coffee or whatever you guys call it. And then you find that the meeting was that they just wanted to find out what they can take from you. Anyway, do you know what I mean? So I would say from the get-go is to give less, take more. We're generally givers anyway, most human beings, but mostly women, we're givers no matter what. So just have it in the mind, like, what would a man do? What would they get out of this? Let me put my man hat on. What are they going in for? They going in for a coffee? They'll be like, they say what they hear, what people's got to say, and then they just come out with it. All right, so by the way, this is what I want. So if you are going to fluff about and get coffee, you write a list of what your needs are and what your demands are, and you demand that. So yeah, I'd say we need to demand more. We need to talk about our superpowers a lot more with conviction and no apology. And we need to know what our purpose is. Once you know what your purpose is, no one can come into that room and tell you any of rubbish, because you already know you're great at what you do, because this is what I was born to do. So yeah,
I love
the 3 things I'd say.
That's fantastic advice. I especially the last piece of advice is so important, and I'm totally with you. I used to go to these coffees all the time. I don't like coffee. I don't want a drink. And then somebody would say, oh, we want to sign you up to this business thing that I'm just not interested in. And why did I waste my time? I would definitely stuck in that.
Exactly. And can I say one more thing, that you brought up something really, really good with regards to collaborations. You brought up so much good things. You need a show on BBC or something, woman. June Sapong. Have you seen what June Sapong has been appointed?
Yes.
We need to put this into existence. I want you to put the BBC on your vision board, woman. You know, you put that on your board, your own radio show.
That would be fabulous. Thank you so much for saying.
I've got an interview with them coming up shortly, so I'm going to find out from the interviewer, how do we sit in that seat? And I'll let you know the response to that. But with regards to, you've got so many good points. What was it now? Manifesting Bitcoin. I told you about I've manifested this space here, right? The 40 different offices across London. That's one of my biggest collaborations. You asked again a great question. What ones are you really, really proud of that you've collaborated with? And then manifesting this co-working space is fantastic for me and my brand, and I get to show other entrepreneurs when they come here for vision board workshops, and I show them what I've manifested just with the power of my mind. I put it on my vision board as one of my breakthrough goals. I said I need premises in North East South West London. In order for me to get this vision, I want that to materialize. It materialized within a month, 2 months I think it was. So I knew I was in the right step, and then for me to be able to bring other entrepreneurs here on this space and let them know, this is how much it would cost if you can't get it for free. This is how cheap and how feasible it is to live this life as an entrepreneur without breaking the bank. You ask a very poignant question before, you know, how can we do it on a shoestring, right, without having to go back to the rat race? Was you not scared to go back into it? No, because you can actually do much better not being in the rat race by finding out how entrepreneurs have got access to all of these fantastic facilities and the likes of interviews with people like yourself.
I've really enjoyed this interview. There's just so many nuggets of wisdom that you've shared, so many things that I can relate to, so many things that I think people, and women in particular, really need to hear and really need to embed into their kind of psyche. So thank you so much for that. If people want to find out more about you, about your business, what platforms can they find you on? On social media, let us know your acts.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll get out let's see if I can find a business card. Can't find a business card, but it's Quest for Success. It's the number 4, Quest for Success UK on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Those 3 are the best free platforms to get hold of me. So Quest, the number 4, like that, for Success UK, best way to get hold of me. Email or go to my website, questforsuccess.co.uk. And I'll get straight back to you.
Fab. Thank you so much for that. And thank you guys for tuning in each week. And thank you for those that have sent me messages to say they've been watching and that they've been enjoying. And as usual, please make sure that you make sure if you haven't done so that you share, that you comment, and make sure that you subscribe as well, so that you can be the first to know when a new video is released each Sunday. And also I'm going to start doing the midweek videos again at some point.
It's Black History Month. Can I just leave us with a great thought?
Oh yeah, go on.
So on the 6th of October, it was the birthday of a lady called Fannie Lou Hamer. And this is what she said, and I'll never forget you as well as an interviewer, Daniela. I love what you're doing for myself and other entrepreneurs. And she says, never forget where we came from and always praise the bridges that carried you over. And that speaks so much volumes for in business. Be careful who you trample on, because I know in business, a lot of people are getting trampled on. A lot of people are forgetting who's brought them up along the way, who's interviewed them and given them this spotlight, you know, to share our story. People are forgetting these things. I want people to remember, you know, this lady Fannie Lou Hamer. She actually helped with black people being able to vote. You know, she lost her job because she actually went on a strike, not on a strike. She went on a march to ask for the right to vote. Her employers heard that she'd done that. She'd been with them for 20 years and they gave her the sack. They was like, nah, you shouldn't be fighting for your rights. So this lady, Fannie Lou Hamer, people that we don't know about in Black history, we only know about Rosa Parks and the like. I'm here to highlight our many fantastic black and white advocates that fought for our rights and whatnot. So yeah, don't forget the people that have given you the spotlight and whatnot and helped you along your way. That's what I want to share.
I love that, and I think that's a beautiful place to end. And thank you for such an inspiring and motivational conversation this evening. I've really enjoyed it, and thanks guys for listening. And if you're interested in being interviewed for She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories, please drop me an email to Daniela at she'sthebossinternational.com. And I'll see you again same time next week. Take care.
Bye guys. Live your life, vision to reality. Do it, just do it.